Obviously, I'm in my truck. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. So tell me if you can hear me. But I just wanted to talk about the championship games on the NFL, as well as a little bit of Super Bowl talk. Um, I also wanted to kind of talk about what we saw in the Chiefs Bengals game from a couple angles. So, with that said, I got good service here, so that's good. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. I need someone to come in and tell me if they can hear what I am saying. That way, I don't just keep talking. You can't hear me. You know what I mean? Googs, can you hear me, buddy? Can you hear what I'm saying? Because I want to make sure, because I think I might have my microphone covered. Okay, maybe not. Let's see. Let me know if you can hear me before I go on. But anyways, a couple things I want to talk about. Let's start with the Eagles and 49ers game. The Eagles 49ers game was wrecked, right? A game that was supposed to be a really good football game got wrecked by injury. Um, I do think the 49ers defense played pretty well for what they were dealing with, basically going 3-and-out every play or every time their offense had the ball, because on the first offensive drive of the game for the San Francisco, Brock Purdy gets hurt. His throwing arm gets hurt. So then they put Johnson in. Johnson is serviceable. He does okay. I think he even leads a touchdown drive to McCaffrey. But it was just too much. And then Johnson goes out, right? So the backup goes out. They don't have a third guy. It was just injuries ruined that game. Were the Eagles always going to win it? Yeah, probably. They were probably always going to win. But it definitely ruined that game. The injuries did. Crash. Can everyone hear me? That's a big thing. I'm trying to figure out if you can hear me. All right. That was fun. I hope everyone isn't dizzy. I don't have my phone thing I used to have. What in the heck just happened? Uh-oh. We have a problem here. There we go. Everyone's laughing at me right now. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Basically, sorry about the phone, guys. I got to get a little holder if I'm going to do these car rides again. I'm not driving right now. I'm just sitting in the parking lot of my job because it's going to ice here in Arkansas. So I'm going to have to work all night and it's going to suck. But anyways, as far as the Eagles game goes, we didn't learn anything new there, I don't think. The Eagles did what they did. They ran the ball a lot. The defense did pretty good. I mean, it was so hard to judge anything off that game because the 49ers just got destroyed by injuries. And there was just not much to learn there. Congratulations to the Eagles. They had the best season out of all the teams, so they deserve to be where they're at. No doubt about that. But I don't think we learned anything in that game. Now, I will say this. They were able to get some pressure on Hurts here and there, but they were just on the field too long, right? San Francisco's defense was just on the field so long that you never got to, they just couldn't win that game. It was just not happening. They were not going to be competitive after Purdy went down. I do think, though, Purdy was going to make that a game because he had thrown a couple balls so right before he got hurt. Like, he only, played like 4 snaps or something. Hello. So, anyways, I don't know. That Eagles game, there wasn't a lot to learn about it. Eagles are in the Super Bowl. They probably should be. They've been the best team all year long, so it's not a surprise. And they get there against the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs game is the one that matters, right? The Chiefs game is the one with all the controversy and all the craziness surrounding it. First thing first, I'm going to point out, I want to say this about the Chiefs game. Before you look at anything the refs did or anything, because there was some stuff the refs did in that game that messed that game up. But Patrick Mahomes threw for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns and no picks. So with guys that they got off the streets and were pulling them out of the stands. So let's put that out there first, that no matter who they put on the field, this guy performed versus one of the best teams in the NFL. Now, let's go to what we talked about last time I was on here live. I said that the Chiefs' defensive line would give the offensive line for the Bengals a lot of problems, and that would be the difference in the game. And I do believe that was the difference in the game. Also, Patrick Mahomes was amazing. I did think the Chiefs would run the ball more, but they did use Pacheco, but they threw it to him, and Pacheco made some great plays. But the Chiefs' D-line absolutely dominated the first half. And then in the second half, they made plays when they needed to. Now, with all that said, I think the right team won. I do think the Chiefs outplayed the Bengals. Did the Bengals get screwed around by the refs? Yes, they absolutely did. In the one instance in particular, with where they let the play go and then turned around and stopped it and went back to the previous play, that is unacceptable. That's unacceptable. That is silliness. I have no idea why they were allowed to do that, because the next play had already completed. It had already snapped and completed. That right there, I don't believe the NFL's rigged, guys. I don't. But man, dang it. Sorry. But man, it's hard to argue, right? It's hard to argue when you see egregious refereeing like that. It's hard to say that there wasn't something else going on in that game. Now, let me explain what I'm saying. If you have the Bengals or you have the Chiefs that are led by Patrick Mahomes, which is on every commercial, which guy do you want in your biggest game? Now, I'm not saying this is what happened, but it sure looked directed. I did see that. I did absolutely see that. But here's what I'm saying. In that case. I get it. No one heard it. I get all that. The problem with it is if that guy ran onto the field, why didn't he stop the next play that also completed? It wasn't until the next play got going and completed that they stopped the play and they went back. And that's the problem with it. So I feel like, yes, they made one mistake and then they compact it by going and ruining it on the play after. That's the issue there. You can't go back like that. And let me explain why. Okay, so in the previous game, in the Eagles game, right? A ball gets thrown down the sideline. Devontae Smith catches the ball, drops it, but he gets up and runs there. And he says, they snap it and run the play. It would be like them seeing it on replay, which they did afterwards that he dropped it, going back and saying, no, Devontae Smith, we're going to move you guys all the way back because you didn't catch that ball. That would not have been okay, right? And that's exactly what happened in the Bengals. And Taylor had every right to be pissed about that because that was garbage, absolute garbage. Now, in the first drive of the game by the Chiefs, I think that should have been a touchdown. He caught the ball outside of the goal line. He had 2 feet in. Thanks, 85 Bears. But so he had 2 feet in and then fell into the end zone and then lost the ball. I thought that should have been a touchdown. I thought that's how that rule works now. But maybe I'm wrong. Obviously, they overturned it or the call on the field stood, right? Check the refs' accounts. Yeah, maybe. If you were going to rig a game, the refs are the way you'd rig it. So, but I didn't like that. My bets were on the Chiefs. So a lot of you guys know that. I was on the Chiefs, and I said it on my YouTube channel, that I was betting on the Chiefs. So I'm speaking from the other side here because they got screwed. They absolutely got screwed. on that. Now, did that change that Burrow got his ass handed to him in the first half by that D-line? No, that had nothing to do with that. Did it change that Burrow threw 2 bad interceptions? No, it had nothing to do with that. But what it did is that play right there, the Chiefs were going to punt. Well, then they decided to go for it because it's third down again. Mahomes gets sacked, but there's a penalty in the secondary. So they get a first down, and I think that ended up in a field goal. So that play mattered a lot as far as the game was concerned. And that's one of the things I'm just pointing that out. I know everyone has, but that is unacceptable. If they let the play go that was supposed to stop and the next play went, hey, you made one mistake. Don't make 2 to get 1 right. I just don't. I hate that they did that. I don't think that changes the game. I think the Chiefs still win because I think the defense for the Chiefs was just coming to play. And I'll tell you what the Bengals did wrong. This is what the Bengals did wrong. The Bengals talked shit. They got on social media. They got on all that stuff, their mayor, and they went and run in their mouths, right? If you look back in the history, very few people can run their mouth and then go beat the best player on the planet in his stadium, even if he is hobbled. I mean, you can't do that. You can't run your mouth in professional sports and expect not to get your ass handed to you. And that's what happened. That D-line took that personally. And you saw they came out in that first half and they wrecked that game. And they knew they won that game in the first half. They knew they did. But anyways, that's one of those deals where you can't do that stuff. You know, here's the thing. What has Burrow won? Burrow has an AFC championship. That's it. Right? He has an AFC championship game. He didn't win the Super Bowl. He didn't win no MVPs. You know, I'm gonna give you guys a statistic about Patrick Mahomes, and some of you will know this. Patrick Mahomes has been a starter for 5 seasons. This is his 3rd Super Bowl. He's been to 5 AFC championship games. He has an MVP. He has a Super Bowl MVP. He's about to have another MVP. He averaged 300 passing yards a game. He has a 50 touchdown season. His legacy and his greatness is undeniable. There's no one in the league that's on his level yet. No one. And I do think Burrow is second best. I think Burrow's the second best quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. I think some other guys are right below him, but I think he has established himself as the second best. But Mahomes, there's a couple steps between him and Burrow. And you saw it in that game. When everything was on the line, Mahomes just did what it took to win. And he throws for 300 yards in the process. He's throwing to Scantling, which was a discard from Green Bay. He was throwing to Kemp, which was a guy that was like 8th string. There was a guy, you know, he's throwing to rookies, and his running back's a rookie, and his kick returner's a rookie, and 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, on a broke ankle. I mean, it was sprained, but, you know, you saw him hobbling around. He had his Michael Jordan moment where he runs around the edge there. Now, that dude hit him in the back. What was he thinking? What was he doing? Mahomes was out of bounds already, and not only that, but Mahomes was only going out of bounds. There was no, like, he wasn't going to turn up field. You know, what was that dude doing? That was just dumb. Now, I get in the heat of the moment, you know, you're going to do whatever you got to do, but, man, that was dumb. Because that probably cost the Bengals the game. So there was only 8 seconds left. They would have still had to have some more yardage. Yes, I do think Hurt's shoulder injury still affected him. But I think when you play in the Super Bowl, hey, you go for it, you know. And they got 2 weeks to heal. Those guys are all going to be healthy. This Super Bowl is going to be a good one, guys. I'll be honest. The Eagles are the last team the Chiefs wanted to see. Because the Eagles they are built the way the Chiefs don't want you to be built. The Eagles can rush the passer, and they have 2 great corners. The Chiefs have no great receivers, right? There's no elite receiver on their team. So the Chiefs are going to have to rely on Mahomes and Kelsey, and Mahomes just being magical in this game. That's what it is. Now, the good thing is he can do that. He is that guy. So I don't think the Eagles' offense scares the Chiefs as much as people might want to think. I do think the Chiefs can they can load up and stop the run, and I think the Chiefs can cover the receivers for the Bengals. I actually don't think they'll have as hard of a time as people think. And the Chiefs also rush the passer really well. So, um, and if you remember, the Chiefs have always played Lamar Jackson pretty well. Even though some of those games have been higher scoring, they've always played Lamar pretty well, and Hurts and Lamar play similar. So I don't think they'll have as hard of a time on defense, but I think the Chiefs' offense with no elite receiver. Now, Kadarius Toney should be healthy, and that'll help. But you have Slay and Bradbury covering you guys, and they can both cover all the Chiefs receivers one-on-one. None of the Chiefs receivers are better than those two guys. So Andy Reid is going to have to get in his bag of tricks, and they're going to have to figure out some ways to run misdirection and crossing routes. But, you'll get a healthy Mahomes. 2 weeks, this ankle will be healthy. So he'll be fully mobile. Mahomes is going to have to be heroic. Personally, I love me some Patrick Mahomes, but I think the task might be a little too big in this one. I just think the Eagles are overall a better team. Top to bottom, they're a better football team. That doesn't mean the Chiefs won't win, though. And that's the thing is, so I got to get a little further in the week. There's always going to be an injury or two that pops up. And I know that the Eagles have had some issues with their running backs and stuff. But I'm just curious. What's the point spread? It's fluctuated both ways. It's been 1.5 both ways. So you've had it started with the Eagles favored, then went to the Chiefs favored, and now I believe it's back to the Eagles being favored. It's just, man, it's a tricky one. It's in Arizona, which, in my opinion, favors the Chiefs because in Arizona's a dome, it's fast. And I know the Eagles are a fast team, but if it was in like an outdoor stadium and everything, I feel like that favors the Eagles being a dominant running team. So I actually like it that it's in a dome and that you're going to see Mahomes be able to play in a dome. I like that part about it for the Chiefs. I think it's better inside for the Chiefs than outside. So I don't know. What I'm saying is to be the man, you got to beat the man, right? I mean, it's the same thing Mahomes had to go through with Brady. To be the man, you got to beat the man, and that's. I know Hurts and the Eagles are great and they're up and coming, but it's a different animal. It's a different animal when you got to go beat those guys. See, because you got to have Mahomes down 2 full scores in the fourth quarter. You got to have Mahomes down 14 in the fourth quarter. If you don't have him down 14, there's a high likelihood you'll lose. Because the Chiefs are very opportunistic, especially on defense. They get it done when they have to because they know they have that guy on the other side. I would say that Kelsey has a huge game. Just off the top of my head, I think he'll have a huge game. And Pacheco will probably have another pretty good game because the Eagles, that's their one spot. They don't stop the run terribly well. That's so hard to say because I think that whichever team gets the ball will score on the first drive. So, it'll probably be a field goal. I would lean field goal over touchdown. Just because it's hard to go all the way down the field on those teams. I don't know. I mean, that's a hard one to say. That's really hard to say. But just off the top of my head, I would definitely think Hurts gets in the end zone in this one. Sanders gets in the end zone. Kelsey gets in the end zone. And I would lean Pacheco. But I would say Mahomes gets his rushing yards in this one. Whatever, they'll be like 26 or 27. I would say he gets them because he's going to do whatever it takes to win. That's one thing you get with Patrick Mahomes. Whatever it takes. He's going to do whatever it takes to win the game. Whether it means jumping sideways and flying. Guys, I'm a Patrick Mahomes fan. Even though I'm a Broncos fan, I'm a Mahomes fan because I think we've never seen a player like him. I think we've never seen the combination skill set. He's like the LeBron James of the NFL. We've never seen what he is. This is the first one. He's one of one. I feel like we've seen guys like Lamar Jackson. We've seen Michael Vick, right? So we've seen guys like Tom Brady. There's been a bunch of Tom Bradys. Now, Tom Brady did it better than all the rest of them. There's been a whole bunch of them. All right? So, in my opinion, what we get with Mahomes, I think we get and this could be a homer thing, but like an upgraded version of a young Elway, right? When Elway was young, he ran a little bit. He had a rocket arm, would throw the ball back across the field. But this is like the upgraded version of that. So... And Elway was pretty good. He went to 5 Super Bowls and won 2. He was pretty good in an era when it was still a running the ball era. So, it's just amazing watching the guy play. But anyways, I got to go into work. It's already icing on my truck and stuff. Good thing I have a farm truck. I don't have to wreck nothing nice. It's nice to have something like this. But anyways, guys, if you guys are curious about who the number one quarterback in the NFL is, just go look at the stats of these young guys. Now, I know Brady's still the man, and Rodgers is great, and Brady's still the greatest, right? He's still the best of all time. But Mahomes, as of right now, he is the top dog. There's no other top dogs. And it's a big drop-off to the next guy, which I think is Burrow. So, anyways, guys, thank you for your time. You have a great day.